This is the Astrology and Tarot Show with Jessica Adams.
Thanks, Shane. This is your Astrology and Tarot for the week starting March 31. If you'd like to listen with time stamps for your sign and also pick up a daily horoscope emailed to you, make sure that you're listening to this at the Astrology and Tarot Show on Substack. So that's substack.com. Now, your birth chart. If you have factors in Pisces in your birth chart, then this really heavy, tight, limited situation with religion, the tarot, mediumship, self-help, therapy, Buddhism, hypnosis, meditation, all the stuff that you do by yourself, for yourself, well, that ends on May 26, but for the moment, you still have to get through this last stretch. If you have factors in Taurus, then out of the blue this week come financial or property changes, offering you another revolution with what you own, earn, or owe. You will be set free if you say yes. This is independence. This money, house, or apartment cycle ends on July 7. I blend your tarot into your astrology for the week ahead, but as a few of you have been asking, here are the cards. Aries, the Two of Pentacles. Taurus, the Three of Cups. Gemini, the Queen of Staves. Cancer, the Ace of Pentacles. Leo, the Ten of Pentacles. Virgo, the Ace of Swords. Libra, the Lovers. Scorpio, the Devil. Sagittarius, the Six of Pentacles. Capricorn, the Ace of Cups. Aquarius, the Three of Pentacles. And Pisces, the Two of Cups. Now, your sign. Aries, this is a good week to plan for slow closure with your career, your academic career, your unpaid work, your health. The slow closure will be over by next year. The South Node in Virgo, the workload and well-being sign, is taking you all the way back to life as it was 18 or 19 years ago. You are seeing a replay of 2006, 2007 with your job, your course, anything you do without pay, and also your well-being. So let's zoom in on what the South Node is, what Virgo is in your chart, and what the sixth house is all about. If you think that you're on a loop with your work, your health, your unpaid work, or your study, you're correct, but there is a point to it. The loop, which goes until the 27th of July next year, 2026, will repeat in order to get you to change on the inside. You become more tolerant, you develop your sense of humour, and you become more philosophical. So, for example, Lady Gaga, an Aries like you, just told the New York Times that she has mental health issues, psychosis, in fact. If we go back to the last cycle, 2006, she was dropped from her record label after 3 months. We don't know why. But this idea of work and health and trying to balance work and health is the same for you as it is for her. And it does take you back about 18 or 19 years. So whatever the story was then is being repeated this week. It's not negative, nor is it positive. It just is what it is. It feels very familiar. Sometimes you even get a literal repetition. So the same people or organisations may come back. But even if it's not literal, it's just a theme, you know to recognise a stuck record when you hear one. But the difference with that at the moment is that the song remains the same, but you get to change the beat, you get to change the rhythm, and you can alter your approach. Understanding that you're going to see or experience the same thing again helps you find the motivation to get a completely new angle on it. And in that way, you develop on the inside, which is what this cycle is all about. Taurus, friends are now part of a very long sign-off in your life from years of confusion, but also an escape from the real world. The friends may have been on social media, in a group or team or club or similar, or on their own, but somehow a collective for you. Neptune in your sector of friends and groups is on the way out. It's gone on March 31, and so is Saturn from May 25. So this is a two-step sign-off. This is the end of no borders, no boundaries with groups and friends. You've had years of Neptune in Pisces in your 11th house, which rules your allies, your acquaintances, and also any formal collection of people. This is a classic cycle for, say, a band or an ensemble cast with no boundaries at all. You worked together, but maybe you were also friends, so you had fuzzy lines in the sand. Nobody was quite sure about the definition of colleague, boss, staff, or friendship. Neptune now on the way out will help you see boundaries again after so many years without them. And in astrology, the end of a cycle is as important as the start of one. So this week is a really big deal in your social life, on social media, with clubs, societies, teams, bands, political parties, charities, the lot. Let's zoom in on the end of Neptune in Pisces on March 31, and then the end of Saturn in Pisces from May 25, which has also given you a very long waiting game with or through these people. Finally, you have a big sign-off, the end of the North Node in Pisces, the same thing, from July 27, 2026. These three factors in your chart are about three different experiences with the others or the rest of them. The first one, as I've mentioned, is the end of no boundaries, confusion, confused or confusing people or situations where the lines were blurred in the sand. Saturn has been about a waiting game, waiting for something or somebody to be lifted from your life, and that stops on May 25. And finally, the last cycle, the North Node in Pisces, is about karma, what you owe or what you are owed from the past with him, with her, or with them. And that ends on July 27 next year. So if you're a Taurus like David Beckham, this is about Manchester United or England, maybe LA Galaxy, AC Milan, and all their fans. However it's been affecting you, you will need to have a different coping strategy for your friends and groups once this cycle ends, as you can no longer muddle through or play a guessing game. It's no longer important to do that. And that will be really clear to you this week. Gemini, your week is about your inner self. It's about being alone to deal with your inner self. Uranus in Taurus is about who or what breaks up the past so that the new future of your inner life can begin. This cycle is peaking this week and it ends on July 7. This radical change for you on the inside, which nobody else really understands, is now ongoing with religion, tarot, hypnosis, meditation, dreams, psychic experience, astrology, counseling, therapy, and so on. I mention this because on April 4, we have a Saturn-Uranus aspect, which is quite important because it's so rare. So that's really propelling you and telling you that you have until July 2025 to sort out your interior. Just because nobody can see the revolution on the inside does not mean it's not life-changing. And this may be about your soul, your psyche, or your conscience. Uranus in Taurus in the 12th house means that there is usually a fair bit going on beneath the surface because you cannot share, or you might share, but it would only be with a psychologist, a psychic, or a psychiatrist, a priest. People cover up on this cycle, and you do your own thing. Basically, this week, you do you. It's very personal to you. Another Gemini, Angelina Jolie, has said that singing opera was her therapy. Apparently, it helped her get over Brad Pitt. But whatever it is for you, this week you realise that even the shock waves of March have only helped to set you free. They're releasing you in some way. We do get very tied to the past. We like what we know, especially when it comes to things like God or not God or the tarot and so on. But this is not about that. It is about understanding sometimes you have to say, well, the past does belong in the past. And what is going on in March makes you turn to a new beginning. Cancer, what you feel about money, property and possessions, and what the rest of you needs to feel secure is the story this week as Pluto goes through Aquarius and Mars goes through Leo. This cycle in the short term ends on June 17, so pace yourself because one issue with the bank, the house, the apartment, business, valuables, insurance, salary, shares, and so on will go back and forth until June 17, so pacing yourself is a good idea. Other people will be impressed by your strength as you face up to situations or individuals which stretch you so much. Decisions which suit your need for control are now ready to be made, as you both or all have to compromise. This other cycle that's going on, Pluto in Aquarius, is a really long one. So let's zoom in on it. You'll have this in 25, 26, 27, for years into the future. But this week is part of the forward planning because, of course, paperwork can take you forward. It's a good idea to spot potential power or control issues before they happen and get out of them, or lower the stakes. Aquarius rules your 8th house, which is typically parents and trust funds, siblings and inheritance, legacy and the children, your ex-wife or husband, and again the children, any de facto partnership where you're renting, and so on. It's very personal to you. I would expect the full moon in Aquarius on August 9 to bring things full circle with him, her, or them, and maybe that's already in your diary. In any case, this week is about housekeeping, Cancer. How to use your self-control with finance and property to have control, one more time, and how to use your willpower to feel more empowered. Leo, it's all about the family finance or the partnership finance or the property from this point on. Stage 1 ends on March 30, and you will get clear and get real after years of not being entirely sure. Stage 2 ends on May 25, so it's a two-step. You have Neptune going out of Pisces and your 8th house on March 30. So that is the bank, the house, the apartment, and so on. And then on May 25, Saturn also goes out. So there are 2 phases here and 2 sign-offs. And those dates may approximate with choices that you're about to make. Do skip the non-essentials as you slowly end this cycle, as you have this week and in fact all of April to see an expert, sort out the numbers, and have overdue discussions. The angle from Uranus in Taurus to Saturn in Pisces on April 4 does bring a weighty decision. The family's new financial or property direction, or the same with a partner, a professional partner, or a husband or girlfriend, is a good example of what's going on. And this is a good time to zoom in on what it means to be able to cope without guessing, wishing, and hoping. You have had this Neptune cycle, which finishes in days for so many years. Leo, you have become accustomed to just finding your way and feeling your way forward intuitively, and yes, wishing and hoping as well, because the situation that you have been through for so many years with your money, your house, your apartment, your business, your charity, and the rest of it has been clouded. Neptune does rule sea mist, and it's been a bit like trying to find your way with goggles. Well, for whatever reason, and you may already know why, it's over. And the second sign off at the end of May tells you that you really are signing off. Virgo, some quite unusual end game transits are now here for your marriage, your divorce, your professional partnership, any separation, serious courtship, and all kinds of duets and duels, so conflicts or legal battles too. It's time for a different chapter, and maybe you already know. In astrology, the end of a cycle is just as important as the start. So here you are at the finishing line with this person, your other half or the other side, on March 30. This is the end of confusion about boundaries. Then on May 25, we have the second step, Saturn in Pisces will also disappear from your 7th house. So that's the end of a quite heavily restricted period for you, a waiting game. You have been living with this cycle with Neptune since 2011, with either the same partner or enemy, or a whole different variety of them. By enemy, I don't mean some kind of baddie from a war film. It may have been the other side, the opposition, your rival, your professional opponent, the other team, and so on. And partners may have been a work partner, your wife, your old girlfriends, plural, your husband, and so on. Neptune in Pisces can also operate with 2 categories at the same time. So this may have been about your romantic partner, for example, but also anybody who was fighting you. Well, on March 30, everything that has been all over the place, all the time, everywhere, comes into land. If you think about British PM Sir Keir Starmer, who is a Virgo, and how the Conservative Party was for him, his opposition, you have a picture. because this is the cycle when those who are against you can be in chaos, and that may have happened to you. If you think of a Virgo like Beyonce and her relationship with Mr. West, you also have a picture. But one thing is certain, life with him or her or against him or her will be unusually clear in just a few days, crystal clear where once you could not see, and perhaps you know why. Maybe a date is already in your diary, or you're looking at April, May, June for some kind of overdue change in your life. But Virgo, it's on the way. Libra. Pisces weather is ending in your sector of workload and well-being. This is a week of measuring up with your workload and your duty and service to others, paid or unpaid, but also your own duty to your best health, and that's physical health and mental health as well. This week is about your job, your daily routine, and your chores. These crucial closing chapters at the end of March and the end of May are about the end of a cycle with your doctor, hospital, alternative health and well-being, food and drink, or similar. This is a two-step, so there's one finishing line this week and the next finishing line in the last week of May. So you may have an appointment, for example, which is a sign, or be making a decision about something like health insurance. For many people born under your sign of Libra, the focus is actually on paid work, unpaid work, or study, so much more. And there will be plenty of clues, signs, and green traffic lights to guide you on your way this week. So you may be resigning, for example, retiring, hiring, firing, starting or ending a project, which would be typical. So let's zoom in on what it means to have Neptune out of Pisces and out of your sixth house. You've had this for so many years, since 2011, you may not have remembered what reality was like before it started. But reality is back, which it always is when Neptune changes signs. There is a two-step to this, and some kind of heavily restricted waiting game or ring-fence situation will also stop at the end of May. But until then, you can at least celebrate the fact that you can finally see the way things are. Anything which was drifting and floating, never quite pinned down, never quite certain, is now going quickly, and you'll see why as you go into the month of April. Scorpio. Well, this week is about your duet or your duel. One more time. By duet, I could mean a marriage or a work partnership. By duel, I could mean an enemy, a rival, or even a legal opponent. I said one more time because you've been going around with this cycle for quite a long time, since 2018. But here we are again. And on the 4th of April, Saturn in Pisces aspects Uranus in Taurus, which is quite unusual. And that's the need for liberty, liberty from or through, a radical decision for or through him, her, or them. This week puts more focus on your other half or the other side for one of the very last times. In fact, this ends in the first week of July. You've had since 2018 to see how this cycle plays out, either with the same person who's staring you in the face now, or with a variety of different duets or duels. So it may, for example, have been a professional partnership like Harris and Biden, or Charles and Camilla. Your own situation is personal to you. Some of you born under Scorpio have had a love triangle, and in other cases, you have had ongoing, long-running opposition or opponents because of the job that you do. What you will discover this week is that if you break with the past, you are set free. It sometimes takes a fair bit of time and insight to understand that who or what was such a pattern or a habit for you, what you felt obliged to pursue or stick with, was actually restricting you on some level you weren't aware of. And that may happen to you this week with this other person or the other side. Uranus is associated with shock waves, and it may be true that in March you are dealing with the last thing that you expected to happen. It's come out of the blue, but it's forcing you to change tactics and change direction. Even though you are a fixed sign, that is not such a bad idea. And later on, when you are past this cycle, and particularly April 4, it should be possible to see that actually you were being liberated and shown something completely new and with so much more space in the room for you. Sagittarius. The way forward with your money, house, apartment, or business is now clear from June, when your ruler Jupiter goes into Cancer. If you have factors in Taurus in your birth chart, you can double that message, and the period around April 4 will set you free, Sagittarius. When it comes to your money, business, real estate, or your valuables, shares, and so on, expect a useful change in 2 stages. What we are talking about here are 2 cycles in Cancer, the sign of the zodiac that rules everything from your mortgage to inheritance to taxation. In fact, it's true to say that your new pathway from June will be on your mind all week, and June may be in your diary or July. This is a true seasonal change, with Jupiter going into Cancer and your solar 8th house from June, so do try to embrace it and prep for it as well. People may already be talking to you more optimistically about future possibilities for you to save or make money, raise funds, or do things differently. And the period around April 4 could be quite significant. You also need to think about June 9 in your diary, because that's when Jupiter in Cancer moves in. This is your ruling planet, Sagittarius, and it's associated with thinking big, thinking more positively and optimistically, seeing the bigger picture, and going for win-win solutions on a very broad level. Now, at the moment, you're still dealing with Mars in Cancer, which has been stuck for a very long time. So you've not had an easy run so far in 2025 with money or property, because things have been going around in circles, stop, start, or gone backwards and forwards. But now you have a date in your mind, June 9, and you realise also that between June 9 this year and the middle of 2026, you are on the downhill slope with tremendous answers not possible in 12 years. Capricorn. Jupiter, the planet of good fortune, solutions, hope, optimism, and big answers, is in your zone of work, unpaid work, and study this week, making waves. You have until June the 9th to use this. From July, you will undergo a revolution with your lifestyle, your workload, and your well-being, as Uranus, the planet of freedom and radical change, goes into exactly the same chart zone. Uranus in Gemini, also in the 6th house, is coming soon, and maybe you're already talking about the middle of the year, or perhaps July, as when a change might be made, and it would affect the way that you live your life on a daily basis. This cycle is about paid work, housework, gardening, unpaid work, volunteering, and caring. It's also about study. It's very much about anything that you do that you consider to be a service or a duty, and it could be walking the dog or just turning up to work and doing it properly. But what you're going to experience this week is really like a set of arrows pointing to the future. Sometimes you do have to jump on things as soon as they come up. So rather than say no, you may prefer to say, I'll get back to you. Some of you, however, will be very ready to say yes immediately, because it's so clear to you that what's on the way or who is on the way could make a wonderful difference to the way that you live your life. In fact, it could lead you to reinterpret what it means to work or do something for other people. This is all pretty new, and yet for those of you who are the right age, if you think back 12 years, anything that you planted then, an acorn with work or study, is now ready to grow into a mighty oak. And if that was you 12 years ago, you'll see some early signs of it this week. Aquarius. Well, Jupiter in Cancer from June this year is really good inspiration this week for planning business, applying for a job, sitting for a scholarship, or resigning or retiring. I could give you more examples, but this week is the setup of the future. It's about big solutions coming in June and good opportunities by July with your work, your unpaid work or study. And this also covers health and well-being, mental and physical health, because in astrology, it's all connected. Jupiter is just a few weeks away from landing on June 9, and you will see clues this week. Some of you will be going for job interviews, for example, or talking to a new doctor, thinking about a new way with your food or drink, or considering volunteering, again, along with a new project or new people. For Aquarians who are really at the end of the line with a work situation, it may be that you are thinking about going somewhere else in the second half of the year. You need luck on your side, though, and luck will be here from June when Jupiter changes signs. If you are one of those Aquarians who have Virgo factors in your birth chart, then you can double this message because this is really personal for you. And I would add that if you do have Virgo factors, then what was happening to you 18 or 19 years ago is playing a part in what's going on. It looks like you are due good karma from that time because of what you gave to other people in a paid job, unpaid work for others, or study. However your birth chart looks, this week is prep time for what is to come. Even though so far 2025 has been full of stop-start situations, unresolved heat or friction, or a lack of conclusion, things get better very quickly as Mars goes out of Cancer, where he has been retrograde, and Jupiter goes in as June begins. So think about this in terms of timing. If you have been affected by Mars retrograde in Cancer and you have been stuck with people or situations which are all heat and no resolved action, this does end, and probably sooner than you might have thought. Meanwhile, keep your eyes open for opportunities that could make a difference to your health, your well-being, or your lifestyle that are slated to begin by July. Pisces. With the younger generation, babies, courtship, or the bedroom, you will now find plotting and planning help you in June when there are some terrific new decisions waiting for you. This week is prep time and it's thinking time. This may be about infants, school children, teenagers, or Generation Z. It may be about a marriage or existing partnership or the dating game. This week will give you plenty of opportunity to set your mind to what could happen and what you would like to happen. A classic example is the adoption process or fostering or IVF. Another classic example is an education for your son or daughter, or a blended family relationship. Another might be that a budding romance turns left into the bedroom by June, or even that you become engaged or pregnant. Jupiter in Cancer in your 5th house can only happen every 12 years, and this week is part of the stepping stone trail to June and July, when it all starts to become obvious to you. This week could be so productive in terms of not just wishing and hoping, but also plotting and planning. The plans that you make allow you to feel more optimistic, and Jupiter likes optimism. In fact, this new cycle, which you've not seen for 12 years, is all about taking a punt on something that could be so much bigger or better, or somebody. It's a good time to dream bigger. If you are one of those Pisces people who have Cancer chart factors in your natal chart, then from June you can expect family expansion, family solutions, growth in the household, renovation, or a move by the middle of 2026, but it would begin by July. Meanwhile, you are dealing with unresolved stop-start situations because of Mars retrograde in Cancer, but these do end. Therefore, if you have been stuck so far in 2025 with a situation with the next generation or a partner, which you feel is very far from being clear or settled, know that this cycle does end, and that from June, in fact, you begin to see it had its part to play in the solutions that are yet to arrive. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch up with you next week.